Look at that! A mummified child! The Mummy comes in at 51% on the tomato meter, 80 by the audience, so critics are being rather harsh on it. But if you are a horror fan, then this might be right up your alley with the amount of gore and body horror that you might see in this film. Now, if you don't know the story, Lee Cronin's The Mummy tells the tale of the young daughter of a journalist that disappears into the desert without a trace. 8 years later, the broken family is shocked when she is returned to them, as what should be a joyful reunion turns into a living nightmare. And indeed, we see these elements in the trailer for this, where they're on vacation or something like that. He's a reporter, and they get the notice that their missing daughter has reappeared, but she's not exactly the way they remembered. She's a little disfigured. They say that she was lost in darkness and basically tortured, and that's why she looks all, well, necrotic. Now, the acting in here, I think I have to point out, is probably the best part of this. Lee Cronin knows how to use the gore and everything like that, but Jack Rayner in here was a standout. The mother, not so much. There's just so much nonsensical stuff that going on with like the family's reactions to things that gets a little tiresome for me. May Callumway, I can't remember. She was in Moon Knight, right? And that was okay. The children do good, but you got to realize this movie's capitalizing on the horror of kids being scared. And if you can stomach that, that's pretty much what all of this is capitalizing on and driving you to be like, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's sad. That's gross. Because it's happening to kids. And some people will be put off by that. And some people will be put off by that. There's just too much of like, for me, of, hey, this is really weird. She doesn't look normal, but we're going to pretend like it's all okay anyway. And it's just a bit too long. I think this film suffers a great deal from the runtime of 2 hours and 14 minutes, where they spend a lot of time setting things up, which is fine if you want to go for a slow burn, but we kind of know where it's going by the trailers, and it just runs out of steam. And then you realize that, okay, there's some really creepy stuff in here, but it just doesn't land as well as I would have enjoyed. Because The Mummy feels like that late night horror pick that you throw on hoping for chaos, and it sort of delivers in that aspect. But as someone who loves horror that actually makes sense, I kept waiting for the story to pull me in, and it almost got there at times, but it just kept on unraveling into confusion and just like, no, that wouldn't happen. Why are you behaving like that kind of stuff, right? And it just, yeah, she's a mummy, but by the breaking point, the nonstop gore stops being shocking, and it just kind of starts being like, yeah, Lee Cronin is good at this stuff, but it's a kind of, it's numbing, right? Making you realize the film really doesn't have that much more deeper stuff to say. Let's take a look at my score sheet for this, and I'll let you know where I rank. So acting, directing, and story out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score are out of 1, and I'm straight down the middle for everything here, guys. It's serviceable. The one child who plays the mummy, I guess, does well under the prosthetics, but it's not Oscar worthy or anything like that. The watchability factor is out of 2 points. It's, if you're curious about this premise, if you are a horror fan, I could possibly give it for 1.5. There are things in here that are creepy, that are eerie, that may make it worthwhile watching on a second time. But can I get higher than that? Let's go back to the tomato meter here and take a look at what some of the critics are saying in audience. RogerEbert.com, you'll definitely squirm, but mostly out of boredom. Well, that goes to the runtime. Perry Nemiroff, a trusted horror aficionado. Lee Cronin is a still certified master at crafting stunning gore, but an implausible plot point nearly extinguishes all of the film's fear factor. And yeah, there's going to be lots of things in here that'll be like, would you really behave like that? Would you really do that? I don't know. So I trust Perry's judgment here. She's a big horror fan. Audience reactions, probably the best attempt at a horror slash scary film in a while. Really? Yeah, I don't know about that. It does fairly well. The film, I don't know, Melting Pot, I don't know, Mario, I don't know. An elevated horror experience from his Evil Dead film, but has too many conveniences that bring it down a little. So even this fan concedes that there are some plot devices in here that may not work overall. Going back to the score sheet here, could I possibly bump this up a little bit more? I think maybe I can for the watchability factor, because there are some good practical effects in here. And if you're a horror fan, you may want to take a second look. But 5.5 is a stretch for sure. The Mummy, 5.5 out of 10. Brutal fun for the hardcore horror fan, but a messy, nonsensical ride overall. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains.